What's your ecosystem like in Mexico? Aguascalientes. Like what kind
Okay,
of birds, what kind of plants?
I live in this small city. The city has like a semi-arid climate.
Okay.
Basically, if you ask me about the weather, it's like a crazy weather because very early in the morning is like super cold, and in midday is like really really hot, and you need like to take a shower in that moment because you are melting basically. And late the evening or night is cold again. So it's like, and right now
Huh.
it's like raining all the time. So, but it's happening here. But here is like it's like the normal weather here. That's why I love the city. But
Yeah.
in terms of animals, we have like some like deers. We have gray fox. It's like a like the regular one, but smaller and gray instead
Okay.
of red. We have how do you call this? I'm remembering the specific name is the Delphis virginiana, with this the scientific name, but it's an opossum. I just remember.
Oh, okay.
Woodpeckers that are like endemic from the city. We have some kind of amphibians that are endemic. Uh, yeah, I have seen some of those. Snakes, skunks. Probably we have raccoons, but not here in the city. They're up there in the hills. And yeah, and plants. But we are surrounded by like desert plants like cactus and the small one agaves too. There's a trees called mesquites, huizaches. So yeah, I'm like surrounded by the regular kind of plants that you see in the
Like
desert. So
arid. Okay.
yeah, like a arid environment.
Is there an ecosystem in the world that you're like fascinated by?
Deserts.
Deserts.
Yeah, but it's because mainly, I guess it's mainly because my dad, he like I said, he's a PhD in biology, but
Okay.
his specialty are deserts. He's like an
Oh,
expert in desert environments. So probably he shared his love from desert from since the beginning. And I was like,
yeah.
oh, such a cool thing, right? And I have the great joy of living in an environment that is near to that one, but
Yeah.
not. I mean, I can live here actually. I mean, but yeah, deserts are my favorite. Actually, there's a really good show on Netflix now called Night on Earth, and in the first episode, it's called Moonlit Plains, and there's like an
What's
smell.
it called? The
Night.
the
The
show?
show is called Night on Earth.
Night on Earth.
On Earth, yeah.
Okay.
And in episode 1, it's called Moonlit Plains.
Okay.
Hopefully, I'm saying that name right. But there is a small segment of that episode that is everything about desert. Is like the pollination of bats on the flowers of these giant cactus, and there is like grasshopper mouse and owls, tarantulas, and scorpions, and how the scorpions, like they are bioluminescent under UV light.
Okay.
So it's such a cool episode, and I was like really fascinating. I mean, everything nature is fascinating to me, even though I know things. I try to pretend that I don't know those things, so I surprise myself. It's like,
Yeah.
whoa. I mean, you already know, but it's fascinating to watch it.
Do you have scorpions by you?
I know there are some species of scorpions here. I haven't seen one yet,
Okay.
at least here at home, but I have a bunch of spiders. So a lot of
Spiders.
wolf spiders and camel spiders.
Are these
And
like really people have what's that phobia? Arachnophobia?
arachnophobia,
A
yes.
lot of people are afraid of spiders. I'm not necessarily, but I feel like the spiders I see on a regular basis are much smaller than the ones that you're talking about. Wolf spider, that's right. That seems like a
Probably, but wolf spiders are not that big,
okay.
but are like kind of this size. So
It's pretty big.
nah, it's not. It's not that big. But because I used to have one as a pet, I remember one class assignment was like, you need to observe an animal, and I was like, okay, cool, I'll pick a spider, why not? So I took a spider from my backyard and I put them in a glass cage,
Yeah.
just for science purposes. Just I want to clear that out. But I observed that spider for about a month, and I was like feeding her. Probably it was a her. Yeah, it was a her. It was a female spider. And I went to the pet store and I bought grasshoppers for the spider, but she didn't like them. So I have to go to my backyard and pick them, the ones that
Oh,
are
wow.
already back there. So because she was a pig spider, very special. So that I did like a report, and everything went well, and then the spider go back into nature at the end of my project.
Have you had a lot of different pets?
I'll say not really, because my mom, she knows I love animals, and she's like, there's no way you're coming with another animal, Sofia, please stop. So when I was a kid, I had, the turtles, because she it's her fault, because she gave that ones to me.
Yeah.
So it's not my fault there. But I had a rabbit, but when I got the rabbit, I was a kid and I had to tell a white lie. I told you my mom, she's a professor, and I tell her like, your students gave me this animal, so what am I supposed to say? No. So I had to bring her home, and I bring the rabbit, but turns out the rabbit wasn't a rabbit, it was a hare. So
what's the difference between the two?
Oh, the hare is like a wild animal. The rabbit is like a farm animal that is actually sold for being a pet, and the hare is like this yes, it's a wild animal. It's not comparison. The behavior is totally different. And I was like, and my mom was like, that's not a rabbit, Sofia. And I was like, yeah, it's a rabbit. So I have to give it away. And then I had a bunch of different animals when I was a college student. I had the spider, and then at my lab there was an experiment with fruit flies, and I was like, excuse me, can I take this to my home? And my teacher was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I want a fruit fly as a pet. This is such a cool pet. No, they are not. Because they're still like reproducing. And then at first I had 2, then I had like over 100, and I was like, wow, that wasn't a good idea. But then when I finished college and I started like working for a company here in the city, I did a lot of rescuing, because I used to work in a crop farm. I was in the biological control department. But the thing is, we have sometimes wild animals in the middle of the crops, but with all this guidance of you need to be like for the health department, I don't know how to describe it, but the health department have like all these rules that you need to have like this environment like this, and nobody can cross because of the contamination and stuff like that. So I did a lot of rescue of squirrels, frogs, toads, and I came back home with all of those, and my mom was like, Sofia, are you kidding me? And I was like, Mom, but so I had to go to an environment near to the crops to release those animals, but I couldn't keep them as pets, which I support my own idea that don't keeping wild animals as pets. It's not a good idea.
Probably not a good idea.
Yeah, it's not a good idea, because at the end of the day, they're gonna die, because you don't know how to handle like wild animal that is not used to be as a pet. So I release them, like I say my goodbyes, and I'm not gonna forget you, my little opossum.
Nice.
But that's the story.